I have this crazy way of doing things. I have a picture, an idea in my mind of what I want, and I start building from that. I don't really have a plan drawn. I just decide what I'm going to do, and I start building it. And of course, with this one, I decided to use available resources. And available resources is my scrap wood pile. Since we're on sort of a lockdown now with today's conditions, I decided to use everything in-house. Even though I could have gotten some other wood, something to work a little better, I used what I had on hand. Everything here was from my shop. So here I am getting ready to build the birdhouse. So I was putting my plans together, and interestingly enough, I built a house once, many, many years ago, and I used wood siding on it. So I'll just do similar thing, but I'll have to cut the siding because there's no such size, there's no lumber that size available. So here's how I did it. I took some poplar and some pine wood, 3/4 inch, and cut 1/8 inch wide strips. And that became my siding pieces. Got some wood together for framing the doors and windows. And once I had my wood pile, I started putting together the birdhouse. And here's the finished birdhouse. Came together very great. Pleased with it. You can see the wood paneling. On the front, I used the pine, mainly because it was weathered top and bottom, so it gave the wood a nice look when I cut the strips. For the top panel and the roof, I used a piece of 1/4 inch plywood. Didn't have much, but I had enough to put that together. And around the side, of course, we had to put windows in. And if you haven't noticed, even have glass in them. And I used the poplar wood on the side because I ran out of the pine I was using. But the combinations of wood together go together nicely. For the door, of course, I framed it, mitered the wood just like I did around the windows, and used little strips of wood that I put together and stained to give a nice look to the unique look to the door. The door handle, strangely, with just a piece of scrap metal that I had, and I keep I throw little bits and pieces of metal in a drawer. Every now and then I use them to repair something. So in this case, I found a scrap that worked quite well. And what this would not be complete without a little tool. So I had a clamp, a little 1-inch clamp that I restored and painted red. I think that's a good clamp color, and gave a nice little dressing to the house. Got to be some birds out there that are looking for a nice place to live, and I'm glad for the challenge. Never built anything like this, and I think the birds will like it too. Hopefully, I'll put it out there and see what we can attract. I don't know what kind of birds. I'll put a 2-inch hole in it, which is probably a little large, but I figure smaller up to mid-sized birds can fit in there just fine. We get some bluebirds around here. We get some red birds. We'll see what we can get a hold of. Thanks for setting up the challenge, Scoutcrafter. Got to create something I've never done before. Thanks.